Jared and Chris here at Bulldog Bike Law, and we're here today with a legislative update that you need to be aware of. We're discussing House Bill 534, which is the legislature's attempt at curbing street racing and stunt driving. Okay, the first part of this bill makes it illegal to promote or to organize street racing and laying drag events. And the second part of the bill creates a new crime known as stunt driving. Chris, what is stunt driving?
Well, it's a great question, and no one's exactly sure what is going to be included in stunt driving, but it appears it's going to include things as donuts, burnouts, wheelies, or even intentionally laying drag or causing your tires to spin. Now, the offenses have incredible punishments attached to them, many of them actually worse than the punishments you might see for a DUI. So for your first offense of stunt driving, it would have a mandatory suspension up to 12 months, and your license cannot be reinstated until at least 120 days for early reinstatement. On top of that, the mandatory minimum jail sentence for your first offense would be 10 days in jail. That's actually worse than the mandatory minimum for a first-time DUI. Upon your second offense for stunt driving, that would have a mandatory 3-year license suspension with an early reinstatement only possible after 18 months. That is worse than a second and fifth year DUI for a license suspension. And on top of that, they have a 90-day minimum confinement for a second offense, which is significantly worse than the minimum confinement one may see from a second and 5 DUI. Upon your third offense of stunt driving, there is a 5-year license suspension. That's very similar to what we see on the third DUI someone gets in a 5-year span. And so with the 5-year suspension, that's a significant amount of time that you will not be able to drive. After the third offense, fourth offenses and beyond become felonies. And you'll be a habitual violator by law. And that felony has a mandatory minimum of 1 year confinement. That's going to be in prison. Now, what's really strange about this law is that this also includes private property. That includes doing wheelies, donuts, burnouts, or street racing technically on a private parking lot or on private property. If you don't have permission from that property owner, they can charge you with this offense, which is totally new in the whole scheme of things of how they are prosecuting activities like this. It's extremely vague what stunt driving is, and it possibly has a huge effect on how organizations, even like our own, could organize events that include automobiles, because anything that could promote any of these possible activities could have serious offenses for the promoters and the people in them.